can an artificial intelligence, can it plagiarize and pass it off as its own? Is it just getting and mixing together content to give someone? Is that what it is? And if that's the question, somebody please define remixing content. When is it an original work? What does that mean? Can an AI chatbot create an original work? And if so, who owns it? What if it does something or inspires or encourages or otherwise influences somebody to do something wrong or hideous? Then who's liable? Right now, we're talking about First Amendment rights and intent. Can an AI chatbot have intent? I don't think so. What is intent? What does that mean? So let's talk about this. Justice Neil Gorsuch posited at the session that the legal protections that shield social networks from lawsuits over user content, which the court is directly taking up for the first time, may not apply to work that's generated by AI, and they specifically said, like the popular ChatGPT bot. Artificial intelligence generates poetry, he said. It generates polemics today that would be content that goes beyond picking, choosing, analyzing, or digesting content. And that is not protected. This is not settled law by any means. And it may require Congress and our legislators to grapple with it. But first, they need to kind of deal with more important stuff like, privacy issues and, what big data gets in terms of our information and our privacy. That would be a wonderful start before we get here. And we've dealt with AI before. We talked here on this program about facial recognition and how a number of police departments stopped using the AI-enhanced facial recognition software because it was getting it wrong so many times. Now here we go with the next layer, the next level. The question is, could this impact entire business models? I mean, Google's rushing an AI bot out there. Microsoft is incorporating OpenAI's chatbot in there. What happens? Do you get to sue them? And if so, if you don't have motive, how do you prove? How do you prove damage? How do you prove industry? How do you prove standing if something that an AI chatbot does or manipulates or otherwise puts out there, somebody takes and runs with it? Do they have liability? And if so, who is they? Are these considered artificial people like corporations are under the legal framework of things? And if so, does it have certain rights? I don't know. I'm just taking this logical conclusion. If they're going to be held liable, then what does that mean? Is it the creators? Is it the company that the creators work for? Is it the software that operates it? Is it the algorithms and logarithms that control it? Is it the information as it, quote unquote, learns? Which may morph even beyond the wildest dreams of the creators. And there's been cases of that, where it learned as malicious players manipulated it to do and say bad things. And the company had to take it offline. When does this become, maybe this is product liability. Maybe this is not even First Amendment at all. Maybe this is a product that the creators should be liable for should it go wrong. And then if that's the case, who puts up the guardrails of what's right or wrong? How do we know what that is? That's a question. I'm not sure that we're not even sure how to begin to answer. But already Google and Microsoft are embracing a future in which search engines just don't return a list of links to users' queries, but generate direct answers. And here's the problematic part, even converse with users. This is not just a set of phrases that it responds to, but freestyling in real time. But based on what? I've got a lot of questions about basis, intent, manipulation, who is at fault, who is responsible, who's going to hold these things in check? What can this bot do and not do legally? We don't have an answer for that yet. And I'm not sure that we're even ready for the conversation. For you all that feel that maybe this is a whole bunch to do about nothing, consider this. As we continue to be a society where we are creating assistance and aids that may transcend our ability to think, act, respond, create, at some point, somebody somewhere is going to need to either engineer in, legislate, or otherwise specify the boundaries for these things. Because right now, it's the Wild West. There are no boundaries other than the boundaries that the companies who've created these and released them to the public have set. And like anything else with good intentions, you release it out into the wild, it's liable to return in a form you don't even recognize, much less even considered in terms of its design. You can easily say, well, we never designed it to do that. But guess what? Boom, here it is. It's doing that. What does that mean? They talk a lot about Section 230, which is the legal protections that the tech industry hides behind when it comes to being responsible for those things that people put on their sites that they may or may not curate that does not hold them personally liable. Is an AI chatbot? Does it qualify? Somebody's going to have to spell that out. So in some legal circles, they said Section 230 will not protect ChatGPT unless Congress or the courts step in. Others say it's a massive chill on innovation. And still another says a better approach may be for Congress to grant AI tools temporary immunity, allowing the booming sector to grow unfettered while studying a longer-term solution that provides partial but not blanket immunity. I say no to that. Nuh-uh. No. There needs to be guardrails. There needs to be guidelines. There needs to be basic rules.